Biden accused of getting a free pass for media after blowing up at a reporter. I mean, this is true. He did. Latest mind-numbing TikTok pride song, Louder Crowder, left is suddenly outraged over Juneteenth federal holiday. Wait, what?
It's going to be a federal holiday for reasons teachers won't be allowed to explain.
Okay, we're going to talk about Juneteenth. I got to go pee, so I'm going to run this right now while we fucking do this, okay?
To their students out of fear of critical race theory backlash. Actually, celebrating Juneteenth is precisely counter to critical race theory. And the people pushing it have nothing but malignant intentions for what comes next year. Meanwhile, controversy breaking out, oddly enough, mainly from the left, over Juneteenth. So yesterday, Congress adopted pretty much unanimously, there are a few people who voted against it, to make Juneteenth a national federal holiday. Now, Juneteenth is the date in which slaves in Texas were finally informed about the Emancipation Proclamation. And it happened like 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. And so it's been celebrated in black communities around the United States as sort of the date marking the end of slavery for decades, truly decades. And so now it's been made a federal holiday. And as I said yesterday on the program, not only do I not have a problem with this, I think that it's quite good that we have a federal holiday marking the end of slavery, because that was a signal moment in America's history. It seems to me that we should absolutely celebrate the end of slavery, whether that should be on Juneteenth or whether that should be upon the ratification of the 13th and 14th Amendments to the United States Constitution, the revivification of the promises of the Declaration of Independence under the auspices of the Lincoln administration, and the end of slavery and the establishment of equality before law, at least in the Constitution, and then gradually effectuated over time, so that now there is full equality before law in the United States. And if you don't believe that, you should read some of the laws of the United States sometime. That is well worth celebrating. That is a very good thing. Now, what the left was saying is that they want Juneteenth to be made a federal law so that we can basically club Americans by saying that if they don't now agree with our racial agenda, then it's because they don't understand the legacy of Juneteenth.
Wait, what? Okay, dude. That's, wait. What the fuck? They want to club Americans about the radical racial agenda of Juneteenth, which is what, like a celebration of the abolition of slavery and black liberation, even though it came after the official abolition of slavery. Like, what is the what? Dude, he's trying so hard, dude. Just, Ben, I don't know why you're doing this. Just be like Charlie Kirk. Like, no one cares. Your audience is too stupid and too fucking racist to literally think about this and be like, well, this is, wow, Ben is making like a really good point. And if he hadn't made a really good point, then, you know, I would have actually been skeptical of his decision. Like, no, dude, look at Charlie Kirk. Here, I'm going to show you guys. Like, this is what you should be doing, okay? Charlie Kirk tweets about Juneteenth last year. This is your daily reminder that we wouldn't be celebrating Juneteenth had Republicans not freed the slaves. Yikes. Today is Juneteenth, celebrating the end of slavery in the United States. This was made possible thanks to Republican President Abraham Lincoln. Today, Democrats are fighting to tear down his statue. Senate Republicans are introducing legislation to make Juneteenth a federal holiday. Barack Obama and Joe Biden were in the White House for 8 years. Why didn't they ever do it? And then now Joe Biden is back in the White House. Lincoln knew America's founding was July 4th, 1776. He knew that was the day our amazing nation made step from ideal to reality. Juneteenth is an affront to the unity of July 4th. We now have 2 summer holidays, and one of them is based on race. Shame on the GOP for supporting this. Like, he doesn't need it. First of all, so what's up? Like, should we fucking yeet Memorial Day weekend, dude? That's a summer holiday, is it not? Is Memorial Day weekend not technically a summer holiday? It's like literally marking the beginning of summer. I can't believe he hates, I cannot believe. Isn't July 4th literally a celebration of race? What? A clear opposition to the 2 holiday solution. Why do Republicans not understand the B. Johnson party flip? They do understand it. They don't care. They want to say that it's not the truth. And while simultaneously defending like people wearing Confederate flags as they go and vote for Republicans. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to make sense. Okay. It doesn't have to make sense. It has never made sense. My point exactly is that you don't have to make sense or be logically consistent in order to get racist dipshits to get fucking riled up. You calling him racist proved his point? You are proving his point by calling him racist? Wait, what? His point is what? I'm so confused. His point is what? That people getting mad at Juneteenth is so fucking idiotic and it's literal racial agitation. And the reason why it's racial agitation is because Juneteenth, the national recognition of Juneteenth as a federal holiday is pure symbolism. Okay? Let me give you like the actual leftist point of view for a second. The American government is not offering material equality to black people. There is no restitution. Okay? There are no reparations. We're not having a conversation about any of that. We're not even having a conversation about police reform anymore, let alone like the defunding of the police forces. Okay? That never happened in this country, and it will not happen. Every single fucking state and every single local budget increased their police funding. The only thing we got out of that was Derek Chauvin is going to jail. That's it. And that's not justice. That's just a beginning of like a justice movement. That's like the beginning phases of like one instance of justice being served. Okay. There is no like funding programs for black and brown communities, black and brown neighborhoods. Black people are still being oppressed by systemic racism. Okay. And all you get, also all across the country, Republican legislatures are passing numerous proposals that literally make it harder for black people to vote, brown people to vote, and poor people to vote in general. Okay? Voter suppression bills all around the country. And the only way for us to be able to potentially put some sort of federal check in place to stop that from happening, like we once had, which was abolished in the Supreme Court, unfortunately, or which was, yeeted in the Supreme Court, and voter laws have gotten worse and worse since then, is not going to pass in the Senate. So there is nothing that actually materially improves the conditions of black people. Okay? Nothing. And the only thing that the government's doing is like, here, take a fucking holiday. Just shut up here. And good. It's good. It's another day that, people can get 5% off at Bed Bath & Beyond. Great. Okay. It's another holiday for us to get like, some discounts and shit like that. And hopefully, if you're lucky, it's another holiday where you get paid holiday pay or potentially time off, which is great. So, but outside of that, it's like, it's nothing, right? It's literally nothing. This is like, it's nothing. And Republicans are still getting mad at that. So at some point, you have to recognize that, like, this is literally just agitation because people are acknowledging that slavery happened. Okay? That's it. It's just the way to whip up the base in a frenzy because them blacks are getting another holiday, brother. It's like, no, dude, you're getting a holiday too. Why don't you shut the fuck up? And as I tweeted earlier, it's like, imagine hating black people so much that you're like, nah, I don't want another day. Like, why? Just shut up. Just shut up and take it, dude. Just shut the fuck up and take the federal holiday. What's wrong with you? I mean, the reality is, if you wanted to improve, like slightly improve conditions for black people, just slightly, and all people in general, but definitely for black people disproportionately, here's a federal holiday you should have. Okay? Election Day. Not saying that this will solve magically all black people's problems, not saying that black people are going to be able to magically improve their conditions by like voting for Democrats easier in an easier capacity. No, but it will literally at least slightly and marginally improve the opportunity to get the process of restitution started by making it easier for everybody to vote and vote for people that they believe would be able to do that for them. That would even be a better way to improve most people's conditions here in this country, rather than Juneteenth. Having said that, great. National recognition for Juneteenth is wonderful. It's not a bad thing. A paid day off is wonderful for everybody. Okay? Now, the irony here, of course, is that given the anti-CRT measures, the anti-critical race theory measures that is happening in all of these like fucking Republican states and shit, which is to say, by the way, that critical race theory is anything and everything that talks about systemic racism, according to Republicans. People can't even fucking teach why Juneteenth is significant. It's literally like, yeah, you get a fucking holiday. Shut the fuck up. Why do we have this day off? I don't know. I don't know, brother. Let's not talk about that. That's so dumb. It's so dumb and it's so stupid. It's so laughable. I work for the Department of Transportation in Alabama. You should have heard the outrage for us getting a paid day off today. Goddamn shame. What? Motherfuckers in Alabama are mad for getting a paid day off? I mean, this blows my mind, dude. It fucking blows my fucking mind, dude. I am going to school to be a history teacher. I don't think history is possible to teach without CRT. Republicans hate critical race theory because they're incapable of thinking critically. So many ultra chuds are business/capital owners, so they probably actually don't want a paid day off. Yeah, that makes sense. But like, if you're like, I mean, usually when you're a white supremacist, you're either really rich or really poor. So if you're really poor, at least like, enjoy the fucking day off, dumbass. You know what I mean? Chill the fuck out. Anyway, let's get back to this.
The legacy of Juneteenth is racial progress, right? It is literally marking racial progress in the United States. And there's been a lot more racial progress, as it turns out, between 1865 and 2021. Okay, so it seems that should be a date that, frankly, everybody should celebrate, right? I mean, that is a very, very good thing that slavery ended in the United States. This is undisputed. Okay, but the left is using this as an excuse, as they always do. Everything is an excuse to push for more. Always. So you have a person named Astid Herndon, okay, at Astid Wesley on Twitter. He's a national political reporter based in New York for the New York Times. He's a reporter, not an opinion guy. And he is very upset that Juneteenth became a national holiday yesterday. Again, voted nearly unanimously in the Senate, with like total support from everyone. He says that what's truly amazing is that many of the same people who are voting to make Juneteenth a national holiday also oppose critical race theory. Okay, critical race theory is not Juneteenth. Critical race theory is the belief that all of America's institutions are irrevocably intertwined with racism, that they are shot
Okay, true.
through with racism, that they are so poisoned at the root that all of the branches are just fruit of the poisonous tree. That is the basic idea of critical race theory, that whiteness is present in everything, that racism is a normal state of the world, that people don't even acknowledge their own racism, and that people benefit from that racism. Okay, and that...
I wonder if anyone's like, at least like, I wonder if there's any like, black or brown people watching Ben Shabibo that at this point they're like, you know what, he's kind of right. What the fuck? I really don't know. Maybe there are some people that like Ben unironically changes the minds of by just like saying it like this. Because the best way to like vilify critical race theory is not to like actually mention that systemic racism is real or whatever, but instead say stuff like critical race theory vilifies white people inappropriately and says all white people are evil and it also sedates black people into thinking, into submission, into a servile state. Like that's what the racial agitation should look like. If you were to do it successfully, you would say that, like, instead of saying like critical race theory is describing that like all American institutions have all American institutions have the legacy of slavery baked into it because it was a fundamental part of American civilization and societal development. And of course, like, it's not very easy to move away from that by just with symbolic actions without any sort of like material restitution. Like, instead of saying stuff like that, you should just be like, it's bad because it vilifies young white babies into thinking that they're racist when they're not racist, and it tells blacks that they're servile and bad, and promotes victimhood among black people so they can't uplift themselves by their bootstraps. That's what I would say if I was a conservative grifter. Like, that's the actual intelligent way to do racial agitative propaganda. So I don't know why he's fucking doing that. Why he's doing this instead.
Kids are supposed to be taught this. Now, here's the reality. So what did this guy tweet out? What did this reporter, this national political reporter, S.D. Herndon, tweet out for the New York Times? Quote, "It's kind of amazing. Juneteenth is going to be a federal holiday for reasons teachers won't be allowed to explain to their students out of fear of critical race theory backlash." What? I'm pretty sure Americans know about slavery. Turns out that we were all, literally all of us, taught about slavery in school from the time we were children. We are all very much aware of slavery, and that's why Juneteenth is a national holiday, to end slavery. But notice how the left conflates all the issues, right? All the issues are the same, always and forever. All of them. And if you apparently, quote unquote, give the left an inch, and I don't think this is giving the left an inch. I don't think it's giving them anything, frankly, to celebrate the end of slavery. Again, I think that's a pretty unifying thing. But if you give them what they perceive to be an inch, they then proceed to try and take it for a mile. And that mile is indoctrinating your children in the idea that America's institutions are irrevocably racist, which, by the way, is the precise reverse of what Juneteenth is. Juneteenth is a recognition that America's institutions changed and morphed and molded and adapted in order to be less racist. Right? The reality is the Constitution.
I mean, the real history behind Juneteenth is that despite the fact that slavery was abolished and a fucking war was fought over it because Southern states really wanted to, preserve their rights to own slaves. Texas still was like, nah, dog, I know we lost, but we're just going to keep this shit on lock. No one needs to know about this. And literally kept doing slavery for another 2 fucking years. So that's what the real history behind Juneteenth is. But of course, Ben's not going to take the time to educate his audience on what that is. So that actually is like literally yet another instance of like, racist people refusing to offer liberation even after they have fucking fought a war over it and lost. Okay, so if anything, like, this holiday is supposed to be a celebration of that final closure, except slavery still exists in this country. Okay, slavery is still legal in this country. Slavery not in the form of wage slavery, but slavery inside of prison. Slavery in the form of prison labor is still very much legal. And that is an American institution. Our criminal justice system is one of the many American institutions and American societal constructs that systematically targets black people, that keeps them subjugated, and then coerces them into working for $1 a fucking day. Like, what is that? That's literally, it's in our Constitution, man. Like, I don't understand. Like, how are you not going to acknowledge that? Juneteenth is a sad reminder of a southern state defying the law and targeting people of color. He mentioned it 2 years while you were gone. Oh, he did?
For amendment were utilized in order to end slavery in the United States. The reality is that it was America's legal process that was changed by the law under the systems and institutions of the United States in order to effectuate the end of legalized racism.
It's kind of like saying, by the way, what happened after that, Ben? Like, what happened for another 100 years? Like, did we not have Jim Crow laws in the South? And also Jim Crow laws that were not as codified, but still very much segregationist policies in the North? Like, how are we going to talk about, like, American institutions are not racist, except, like, motherfuckers literally wanted to maintain that racial hegemony for as long as they could. So there was another 100 years of people being like, okay, slavery doesn't exist, but, you know, we should still have a separate but equal process. How are we not going to talk about that? And even then, when you talk about it, you're like, okay, 1960, in the 1960s, like, that ended. All right. But back then, the Ben Shapiros of the world literally kept saying slavery has been abolished. Why are people fucking crying about this? Separate but equal, separate but equal. We don't even have any racist laws. Look to the laws. Point to me where a law is technically racist. I mean, segregation is separate but equal. That is a way to whitewash segregation, okay? That is a way to whitewash Jim Crow laws. And Jim Crow laws didn't explicitly say, if you're black, you can't vote, okay? Jim Crow laws still also would say things like the grandparent clause. If your grandfather was not able to vote, then you are not able to vote. And a Ben Shapiro Andy at that time and point and place would absolutely and did absolutely say things like, well, where is the racism? It doesn't say black people can't vote. It just says we have to have literacy tests. It doesn't say black people can't vote. We have to, you know, we have a grandfather clause. We don't want people who haven't been in this country for a long enough time to be able to vote. Or if they weren't full citizens, to be able to vote. They just don't know any better. They shouldn't be able to vote. So it's not new. What Ben is doing is not new. It's a very, very old school way. Conservatives have been doing this for a very long time. Okay? How is that legal? Like, what's their reasoning for saying that your grandpa couldn't vote? You also can't? Well, it was to make sure that black people can't vote. If your grandfather was able to vote, then I think you got, like, you didn't have to get a literacy test, right? So, oh yeah, I'm going to look at this video in a little bit. This is, like, going viral right now because yet another black person has been like, systemic racism doesn't exist.
Racism in the United States. So actually, celebrating Juneteenth is precisely counter to critical race theory, which suggests, I mean, Derek Bell openly suggested this, that racism in the United States has gotten worse, not better. Juneteenth is a precise rebuke and rebuttal of that idea. But the media have decided that basically you have to accept, if you are racially sensitive, you have to accept that America is a more racist place, a more terrible place, and you have to allow the indoctrination of your children in this particular idea. That is, of course, absolute stupidity. There's a reason why there is a backlash, and that backlash is going to be extremely strong. I am perfectly willing, and so is every other American I know, to hear about the flaws of the United States. What I'm not willing to hear is that the United States is at root a racist, horrifying country and our institutions are bad. That is not true. It's a patent and absurd lie.
Yeah, totally. Because again, another 100 years post-abolitionist slavery, we didn't have racism codified in all of our institutions. And it still exists to this day. Because post-civil rights movement, you still have the war on poverty and the war on drugs. Okay, you still have redlining. You still have no fucking economic restitution, no reparations for black people. Like, here's a wonderful example of how fucking racist our institutions actually are and were even back when we abolished slavery. Okay? 40 acres and a mule was what black people were supposed to get in the form of reparations for all of the labor that they provided to this country, right? They never did. You know who did actually get reparations, though? Slave owners. White slave owners got reparations for all of the black slaves that they had freed. They got their fucking reparations, but black people never did. And not only that, but then they fucking, again, codified institutional racism. Like they openly stated that there was going to be a separate but equal society where in a functional apartheid state, black and white people could coexist, but not necessarily coexist, because black people were not going to have the same liberties and the same rights and access to the same services that white people could. And then when that didn't work out, when there was pushback against that, we still chose to push black people into neighborhoods that were impoverished. We never offered them a leg up regardless. Gave them Band-Aid solutions. Okay? And forced them into conditions where the never-ending cycle of socioeconomic conditions and violence permeated. And then cried about, like, maybe some very fortunate black people being able to escape intergenerational poverty. Like, people don't realize that the overwhelming majority of black people living on U.S. soil right now, the overwhelming majority, now that doesn't mean like, immigrants and whatnot, but the overwhelming majority of black people living on U.S. soil right now are 1.5 generations removed from complete extreme poverty brought about by systemic racism, like codified systemic racism. 1.5 generations, dude. That's crazy. How are you going to sit here and act like that isn't important? Act like that isn't a real thing? That's a major setback. And white people don't even want to fucking hear it being mentioned. They want to look the other way. And not all white people, obviously. I mean, like fucking conservatives. But goddamn, dude. It's crazy. Oh. Explain logically without buzzwords why the white majority would give up their wealth for reparations. I mean, without buzzwords, explain why the white majority should give up their wealth, not just for reparations, but for all manner of economic restitution. They should, because we would be living in a more evolved society. Okay? A better society for everybody. That's crazy, dude. That's a crazy take. Like you're mentioning taxes in the most like violent way that you can do that. And also, I already described to you that like there were reparations just to white people. No, they shouldn't. What the fuck? You don't hold people accountable for their ancestors? No, that's not about accountability for their ancestors, you motherfuckers. That's about righting a wrong of the past and caring for your fellow man. Unless you literally, unironically think there's a difference between white people and black people. Unless you actually believe that we still should be living in a segregated society, you should care about people that are in bad conditions as a consequence of ongoing oppression and work to fix that. God damn, dude. I once took a politics course and I liked it, so I couldn't graduate fast. The teacher started to coon for Ben Shapiro. I insta drop. Do white people in extreme poverty get reparations as well? Serious question. I think white people in extreme poverty should have economic programs just like black people in extreme poverty do. But reparations is something beyond that. Reparations is righting a wrong to target black people who are descendants of slaves, okay? If you're here, you already know what my point is on on class struggle. You already know what my point is about workers not getting a fair shake, about how all workers, regardless of background, color, creed, ethnicity, religious point of view, deserve the same base level of material equality as everyone else, that offers them an alternate opportunity to survive, regardless of whether or not they subject themselves to horrifying conditions. Okay? And I'm not going to get into like the math equation of reparations, because that's overly complicated at a time when people don't even want to talk about the morality behind why, or why it would be good to have reparations. So like, there's no reason to get into the fucking math equation on that end, or the logistics, when most motherfuckers don't even want to talk about systemic racism's existence in modern American society. Did you clarify? Do you actually think all white people should give up their wealth for reparations? No, motherfucker, I never said that. What the fuck? Like, do you guys think that I'm like an advocate for donating to black cash apps because you have like offended I don't know, like BIPOC members of like a particular Minecrafters community or something? Like, I literally shit on that every day. Americans can't move beyond the hyper individualistic like point of view when it comes to every single issue, no matter how fucking leftist, no matter how woke you might be. It's so odd that individuals literally cannot remove themselves from seeing everything from a hyper individualistic lens. So the chatter who asked, how would wealth redistribution solve racism? It wouldn't solve racism, but it would serve as to address an economic inequality caused by systemic racism. Yeah. It's one first step. Everything that the government doesn't want to give rightfully due reparations because then white people will demand more social programs. That's the other part. Like, I love that when people say like it will create resentment. It will create racial resentment against black people. It's like, no. I think poor white people should be demanding on a class basis more from their government. I advocate for that every fucking day. And also, the irony is that like that implies that there isn't already a profound amount of racial resentment in this country already. There is. But I guess like racial resentment would be a little easier to manage for black people if they had access to the same fucking resources, social safety nets, programs like school programs and shit like that. You know? Anyway, my take on reparations is complicated, partially because I am privileged. And I do think that the better solution for reparations in this country would absolutely be like having community-led community leaders take funds and distribute them appropriately, like elected representatives distributing them appropriately into the community in areas of need, rather than like individually giving every black person who's a descendant of slavery money. And that is a controversial take that some black leaders agree with me on and others do not. So means testing? No, that's not means testing. No, that's like instead of giving individuals money adjusted for inflation, I think a better resource for that would be to beef up black and brown neighborhoods and black and brown communities. Like, for example, one of the problems with black capitalism, for example, is that a dollar does not stay in the black community for too long. So when black people make money, they immediately move it out of the black community into white capital. And one way to solve that problem, rather than fractioning out society on like the basis of the color of your skin, one way to solve that problem is for there to be more black-owned businesses if you're going to do that. Right? And the reason why there aren't that many black-owned businesses is because there isn't a lot of economic help. There isn't a good foundation, unfortunately. Black people born in 1995 who is dirt poor becomes better off than white born in 1995 who was also dirt poor after your outcome. How is that not discrimination, literally? For the record, I'm not saying black capitalism is the way to defeat racism. I'm going to address that dumb take in a second. Hold on. Okay. One, I don't think that a white person born into horrible conditions shouldn't get social safety nets. I advocate for that as well. Okay? I advocate for that all the time. So I don't have a problem with like material help to white working class individuals. It's kind of at the heart of my argument. But that shouldn't be used as a cudgel against like African descendants of slaves who have been repressed, who have been subjugated, who have been forced into worse conditions for hundreds of fucking years. By the way, the entire like retort, you talk about racial problems like it's the most important problem to talk about right now. I mean, you can never win in this community because there are so many different points of view here. But if you ask black, indigenous, and people of color members of my community, they will literally say, I don't talk about race enough. So I can never fucking win. I do think that race is somewhat important, you know, kind of important in understanding how the American society functions, both through the lens of history, but also in contemporary American society. It's just race is still a significant issue. If it wasn't a significant issue, then Ben Shapiro wouldn't be making videos about it. Like, if racism was not a prevalent motivator for conservatives, then nobody would be like, I can't believe we're doing a Juneteenth holiday. Like, but it does exist. And it's not only something that exists, but it's something that's very successful at like galvanizing and emboldening some of the worst voters in our society. From years 1875 to 1991, we had 4 total African American senators. The 5th was Barack Obama in 2005. Yeah, we've had what is it, 11 black senators throughout the history of the United States of America. Like 11, dude. And people will be like, actually, black people are 13% of the 13% of public. Okay. Are they 13% of like all senators then throughout history? No. Hasan have helped me gain perspective and change my views a lot of times. In many cases, they already have same views on stuff, but I do not get this take at all. I believe there's some disconnect in the details between us, the viewers, and Hasan. The issue with far leftists is their solution for reparations and race-related issues don't rely on black people changing or having any autonomy over themselves. In the same way a homeless person might have been fucked, they still need to ascend. The black community needs to ascend as well. I don't know what you mean by that. Like, who's saying that, like... No, it's literally, like... It's literally about offering, literally about righting the wrongs of the past and offering an opportunity to black people to ascend, if that's what you're saying. Unless you're literally saying bootstrap your shit. Calling people racist for their takes is fucking stupid and pushes them further to reactionary takes. This chat is filled with Minecraft left Twitter streams. Give poor black people reparations and poor whites will start a fucking civil war. Omega Law just uplift poor people. Dude, you have been in here for 3 months, dude. You've been subscribed for 3 months. Please. Like, that's so fucking stupid, dude. It makes sense that I gotta, like, have... I have to talk about this conversation again. Like, turn around and talk about this conversation again and again and again. Specifically because there are people that haven't heard me speak on these matters, I guess. You can't push people back every step of the way and then be like, why can't you fucking bootstrap, dude? And then keep punching them in the face whenever they do. Just a question. Was suggested there should be reparations until race would stop being a factor dictating your place in society? Class discrimination plays a fundamental role in every capitalist society, right? But beyond that, there is a multiplying factor in the form of race. Okay? That's all white privilege is. It's the lack of it's the lack of having like one extra layer of marginalization removed. That's all it is. And it has been a significant fucking multiplier too. My biggest problem with Juneteenth as a holiday is a virtue signal that doesn't do anything to help average black American. Medicare for all, $15 minimum wage reparations, the church would make all black Americans' lives better, not a holiday. Yeah. No, I know. I think most leftists understand that this is a pure virtue signaling a thing. That's why there was bipartisanship that could be met there. It's purely performative. So white poor people have it easier than black poor people? Yes. Yeah. That's true. It's not great for poor white people, but yes. Whenever someone asks that question, by the way, they always think probably like a homeless white person versus like a kind of poor black person. Like, no. I don't think anyone, unless they're like fucking gigantic rad libs who are just crazy and delusional, think that like Oprah is in a worse condition than like a fucking homeless white person. That's not true, because class is overwhelming in that. Okay, like class is more dominant in that equation than anything else. But if we're talking about like a middle class black person and a middle class white person that have like nearly identical economic conditions, that middle class black person literally got to that point only in 1.5 generations. Like, they literally had to escape the struggles of systemic racism in the form of segregation. So yes, while they are in similar economic conditions now, there's still plenty of racist shit that occurs that puts them in a worse position overall. You get it? Because you're not being discriminated against for being white. There is no difference between low class and low class, man. That's fucking not true, dude. I'm sorry. That's such a white ass take, dude. It really is. That comes from a place of profound privilege that is just not recognize that. It really is a white ass take right there. Straight up. Anyway. Senate votes to make Juneteenth federal holiday so long as no one thinks too hard about its significance. That's a great take from The Onion, always. It's really, really, really difficult to comprehend, especially if you're a poor white person living in like fucking the West Virginia mountains, you know what I mean? You're like, what the fuck? Like, how? Like, my situation is so dog shit. Well, your situation is dog shit. Imagine if your situation was dog shit, and on top of that, you weren't just being oppressed by capitalism, but you were also being oppressed by white supremacy. Like, literally targeting you for centuries after robbing you of your ethnicity, your culture, your language, raping you, raping your children, enslaving you. And then after that part was abolished, the same system still were like, nah, but like, let's, keep everybody separate here. Let's not be ridiculous. Not offering you any of the fucking same job opportunities. Anyway, Azalea Banks had some fucking fire Candace Owens takes, I guess. Azalea Banks, according to this logic, on July 4th, 1776, you would still be enslaved, most likely on the verge of starvation due to all of America's food supply having been prioritized for the war, while you hand sue American flags and struggle to wet nurse some depressed 24-year-old white widow's sickly child until your nipples are chapped and dry, whereafter you will be whipped by her 80-year-old uncle for your own malnourishment and inability to produce milk, then sent to toil over a wood-burning stove, blistering your hands while forced to make a peasantly meal of biscuits and gravy. You will be watched closely by her irate, sunburnt, and whiskey-soaked 80-year-old uncle to be sure you do not sneak a single biscuit or fingerful of roux to yourself. After you've watched everyone eat, you will be sent to do the cleaning up. Your last task will be brushing the stressed and balding white widow's hair to prepare for her sleeping bonnet. A deep rest in her comfortable canopy bed. Next, your final descent down the stairs and out of the back door where you proudly sleep on a bedbug-infested pile of hay in a 6x4 cabin you share with 4 other slaves. Happy Independence Day at Real Candace Owens. Azalea Banks is fucking crazy, but goddamn, that's a good take. I mean, she's fucking out of her mind, but like, respect. That's, when she nails it, she nails it. I mean, this is why I'm always shocked when I see like black conservatives rep like 1776. Like, that's not for you, dude. Like, that was never for you. You know what I mean? That's not, like, what are you celebrating? Like, those people that did that literally wanted to carve a society where you were just not a human being. Like, most of those people. How are you going to rep that shit? Like, do you have no self-awareness? Do you, like... It just, like, fucking blows my mind. It really is confusing. She's such a bad person, but sometimes she comes with a fire. Yeah, she's, like, awful, but... Anyway, how do we do reparations? Or is no one worried about the logistics of reparations? Like, is it a form of community investment or what? Because this seems like to be such a convoluted issue because of America's inability to purposely address these issues. Yeah. The reason why I don't even get into the logistics is because I can't even get like half these fucking people to come to terms with the existence of systemic racism. So we already covered this, okay? There's more I want to talk to. There's more I want to talk on this issue. Where's the fucking PragerU? Slavery was a universal. So condemning America for having slavery without saying I'm condemning every society on earth is anti-American. It's not anti-slavery. It's anti-American. Dude, they're not even doing a good job anymore. Condemn the actions of slavery as evil and acknowledge the societies that fought and died to abolish it as good because not all of them did. America, for instance, abolished slavery at the cost of more people than in any war in American history. Wait, but doesn't that... Wait, but that means that other Americans, like, were willing to fucking die for it. And also, America's, like, literally one of the last nations to abolish slavery. So what the fuck? All right. Anyway, here's some more sauce for whites to feel good about themselves. Whenever someone says we need to learn about, like, whenever someone says, like, we need to learn about, you know, systemic racism and it's like profound intergenerational influence on modern American black existence and modern American existence for all Americans, really. Whenever someone says that, and a white person says, "Oh my God, you mean to make me out to be the villain here?" It's like, no, but you kind of are self-reporting if you're getting like so agitated and so butthurt over this. Like, you know, no one was saying that, but like now I kind of do feel like you're a bad person because like you didn't have to fucking take ownership of this and get mad at it, but now you are. Like, that's kind of weird.
When you talk about critical race theory, which is pretty much going to be teaching kids how to hate each other, how to dislike each other, that's pretty much what it's going to, that's pretty much, I don't care what you say, it's pretty much what it's going to all come down to. You're going to deliberately teach kids, this white kid right here got it better than you because he white? You're going to purposely tell a white kid, oh, the black people are all down and suppressed. How do I have 2 medical degrees if I'm sitting here oppressed? How did I get, first of all, time up, because I only got 5 minutes now, 5 minutes. 2 medical degrees. No mom, no dad in the house. Worked my way through college. Sat there and hustled my butt off to get through college. You gonna tell me somebody that looked like all y'all white folks kept me from doing that? Are you serious? Not one white person ever came to me and said, well, son, you're never gonna be able to get nowhere because you know the black people. But guess what? What's sickening about this whole thing is what y'all...
So is this actually Candace Owens' brother, or were people just kidding about that? Or were people being... Because I heard some people saying that. Or were people just like joking about that? Come on, bro. I'm black and I became a doctor. How can you say racism exists, dude? That's crazy. You know? People keep talking about cancer. And I'm here to tell you that it doesn't exist. I've never had it. So why would it exist? I'm so confused. People keep talking about hurricanes and tornadoes. I've never seen a hurricane or a tornado. The fuck? What is this? I survived when it rained on me. My basement flooded one time, but my house is still intact. Why the fuck are you going to talk to me about fucking hurricane and tornado prevention? Is it hernado? It's crazy.
All doing right now is already something I do in my community right now to speak out against stuff because black folks are getting told by other black folks, oh, you know you ain't gonna be able to do nothing out there in the world because them white folks ain't gonna let you get no, oh, you know you're not gonna be able to do it here because you know the white man gonna keep you down. Well, how did I get one?
Yeah, dude, it's just this attitude is so fucking stupid too, because it's like it completely, again, denies like slavery, segregation, and racial discrimination codified into all of our institutions. It denies the existence of all of that. You know what's keeping black folk down, dude? Other black folk acknowledging racism. That's what's keeping black folk down. Like, it's such a fucking stupid ass take, dude. Like, it's so dumb. And it's literally this like mystical multi-level marketing Andy type beat to just say that as long as you don't deny as long as you deny the evidence, as long as you don't learn about your history, like, and you live in this fucking world of idealizations, you can and will succeed. It's like, really, dude? So the black kid that goes to a Chicago public school that's like severely underfunded, Like, all he needed to do when his after school programs were cut and he has nowhere to go, he's like many other black kids in this country where he's one out of every 5 black child who is a parent that's currently incarcerated. He's one of those kids who only has one parent in the household right now because the other one was sent to prison for drug possession or whatever. Okay? And his mother's working to survive. And, he doesn't have, like, the after-school program anymore. So now he just, like, doesn't know where to go. Doesn't know who to hang out with. Like, doesn't have a good school program to begin with. Schools are already underpoverished or completely impoverished. If he just closes his eyes and says, like, systemic racism isn't real, then magically all of those problems would go away. Right? Is that how that works? This is survivorship. This is survivor's bias, by the way. I made it, so why can't you? White people do this shit all the time, too. Like, poor white people. You're a leftist community. You see this from poor white people all the fucking time who became rich. Come on, man. I used to be homeless. Just fucking work harder. Just work harder. Stereotyping much? Yeah, dude. Yeah. I brought empirical evidence to the table, so I must be stereotyping about all black people when I'm talking about the specific instance of a very real instance of, like, what the black kid in the Chicago school system might actually feel or might actually experience, to show you a different side and why that's stupid that this person is saying, like, oh man, I fucking killed it, why can't you? It's so dumb because he knows how much harder he had to work than someone from a rich background, but instead he defends it.
Who I am right now, if some white man kept me down. How am I now directing over folks that look just like you guys in this room right now? How? What kept me down? What oppressed me? I worked for myself from off the streets to where I am right now. You gonna sit here and tell me this lie of critical race theory? Of this the reason why black folks can't get ahead because of white folks? Are you kidding me? This is what we come to now. I can't believe we even talking about this right now.
It's so fucking stupid because it, like, implies that, like, if black people hear about their past, then, like, it's kind of depressing. Like, there's a hidden truth there, which is, like, black history is so fucking marred with horrible things that they've been subjected to that, like, when you hear about it, you're going to be too depressed to fucking succeed. Which, of course, in and of itself is an acknowledgement. Okay? That, like, yeah, this shit is really fucking bad. And we probably should have done something about it.
The last thing I'm going to say right here is something that's crazy. Martin Luther King said he wanted his kids to grow up in a world where they are judged by the contents of their what? Their character, not their skin.
Yeah, Martin Luther King famously always said you should be colorblind, and that you know, I have $5 that says these 2 medical degrees turn out to be EMT license and a home health care certificate. Who says I got 2 medical degrees instead of saying I'm a licensed neurosurgeon or a board certified ophthalmologist? I don't even know how to say that. Goddamn. Thank you, sir, says Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah, MLK famously never talked about poverty, dude. You know.
If they letting this stuff go on right now, it is absolutely doing the complete reverse of what he's doing. So when February comes, don't talk about Martin Luther King. When February comes, don't talk about Black History Month. If y'all gonna sit there and just pretty much pee on his grave with this nonsense, that's exactly what's about to happen. Lastly, we are talking about our kids.
The notion that, like, a famous reverend civil rights movement leader would be anti-teaching the history of systemic racism to all Americans is such a wild take, dude. Like MLK would be against educating kids on the damaging aspect of racism. Like, that's such an incredible take. Like, but it doesn't cherry picking MLK, dude, of course, but it doesn't matter. It's not even MLK. This is a whitewashed version of MLK created specifically to like make all of these white people feel comfortable about their point of view.
We are talking about our children. What's so sickening about me? I love the Discovery Channel.
Yeah, MLK was actually so successful because he never actually learned about slavery. And of course, everyone back then said, oh, wow, thank you, Martin Luther King, for addressing these problems in our society. We will now get together as white folk and sign legislation to alleviate all of your grievances, like, to address all of your grievances, which we consider legitimate. That's how it works. Which is why he lived to be 100 years old. And the FBI never tried to blackmail him or maybe even have a potential role in his assassination. Who knows? How are you supposed to talk to people like this? You can't talk to this person. This person is gone. And I don't mean like gone in the sunken place sense. Like, he knows what he's doing. So does Candace Owens. Don't have a conversation with this guy. You would have an easier time describing systemic racism to all of these other people in the back. You want to know why? Because he makes money doing this, okay? This is his job. This is literally what he does for a living. That's it. Like, there's no reason to try to change Candace Owens' fucking mind. They're professionals, dude. This is how they make money. It's a foolhardy endeavor to try to change their mind when they're not honest.
You will see that on the Discovery Channel, animals will put their lives on the line to protect their children from danger. Nobody want to get to the heart of the matter, get to the meat of the matter, get to more of the story.
So dripless, too. Fucking cargo shorts Andy, dude. So whack. Rightist social media stars are sharing this unattributed video. Apparently, he's a YouTuber who goes by Modern Renaissance Man. No idea if he's got 2 medical degrees, but the About page on the channel advertises comedy, ministry, and self-help. As far as I can tell, this clip went viral after serial plagiarist and TPUSA meme maker Benny Johnson shared it. It's been several hours, and I'm still seeing people who should know better credulously sharing this video without asking for even the slightest bit of context or confirmable facts. This anti-critical race theory parent with 2 medical degrees YouTube channel description. Calm day. Shut up! Are you fucking kidding me, dude? My man said calm day.
Hey everybody, it's Ty Smith, my Renaissance Man. I am new to this Patreon world and we are getting ready to take it by storm. You say, who is my Renaissance Man? Well, I'll give you an idea who I am. Get ready because here I come.
What exactly is the big deal with organic? Is it really worth the extra cost?
It definitely is, and this is the reason why. Is that
oh my god, dude. Dripless, dude. So dripless. Okay, listen. What is going on here? What the fuck? Why does every black conservative have zero fucking drip, like negative drip, dude? What the fuck? It doesn't make any sense. Like, what the fuck is going on, dude? Dude, he's wearing a fucking black t-shirt under his like blue button up that he like is exposing. That's unacceptable, dude. And to the people who are saying, does that mean all black people are supposed to have drip? No, that's not what I'm saying. Well, for some fucking weird reason, like every black conservative grifter dresses up like a fucking Midwestern dad that dressed up in the dark. It's so strange, dude. It's so bad. It's not even 3 stripes, 4 stripes. Honestly, it's just because like no conservative has drip. That's what it is. When you get beamed in the back of the fucking head with conservatism, like that's critical drip theory, which they should be teaching in schools, to be honest. Ad hom the guy because you can't go against his views? What? I've already been fucking going against his views. He's a dumbass, dude. Not only is he a dumbass, but like his entire existence is predicated on other dumbass white people like yourself believing that like, oh, this is one of the good ones. This is one of the good ones. Oh yeah, I should feel comfortable in my fucking racist biases that I've learned throughout my entire life. Because here's a black person who agrees with me. Dumbass. Don't recognize being sold a fucking idea that just reinforms your previous suspicions. Fitness expert.
What I'm just simply trying to tell you is that as an auntie, I don't like to see nobody get hurt, okay?
Interested in each other. Again, it's the same type of things that I just mentioned that the parents could be asking. I'm an evangelist, all right? I hope you guys all have food, shelter, and clothing, and most of all, hope and pray that every last one of you guys are in great health. God bless you all in Jesus' name.
Yo, Kame, ha, he said.
Bless you all in Jesus' name.
Hit you in the head with a fucking. He just hit you in the face with some Jesus, dude. I love that. That's the famous conservative YouTuber Modern Renaissance, man. Interesting how the right-wing media is trying to pass this guy off as a random concerned parent. I bet this publicity stunt for his YouTube channel. Yeah, I mean, dude, it's great. Look how quickly he was look how quickly they were like, oh, this is a fucking random concerned parent. He literally said, I have the power of God and anime on my side. Yeah.
Critical race theory, which is not their skin. If they letting this stuff go on right now, it is absolutely doing the complete reverse of what he's doing. So when February comes, don't talk about Martin Luther King. When February comes, don't talk about Black History Month. Y'all gonna sit there and just pretty much pee on his grave with this nonsense? That's exactly what's about to happen. Lastly, we are talking about our kids. We are talking about our children. What's so sickening about me, I love the Discovery Channel. You will see that on the Discovery Channel, animals will put their...
Bro, here's my critical race theory. Are you ready for this? White people in America will pay an endless amount of money to do one of two things. Okay? Either have a black person tell them that, like, their racist opinions are correct, or to have black people tell them that they saved their lives. Okay? There is an entire fucking, like, there's an entire part of Hollywood that exclusively churns out content for the white liberals that want to feel like white saviors, you know, like the good white. And it's just like, it's so strange. Nothing in between. You either are like the white guy who saved every black person, or you're the white guy who's just like, it doesn't want to, you know, it doesn't want to ever fucking feel like, you know, their racist points of view are somehow incorrect. Just basically believes because, yeah, it's the N-word dichotomy. It's like either you want to be able to say the N-word because you're accepted by black people as a good white, or you want to be able to say the N-word because you know, think black people are lesser than you, which ironically still revolves around otherizing black people and also you know, somehow completely avoids their personal experiences with systemic racism. Fox News is pretty fucking quick with it. God damn, dude. Which one are you, white guy? Oh, the N-word pass guy, for sure. That's who I am. I knew it was from Illinois. Naperville Andy, dude. Old Navy ass V-neck. Oh, Jesus Christ. Evanston Andy. How do white people get out of this dichotomy? Dude, it's a joke, okay? Obviously. You get out of that dichotomy by being fucking normal and, like, not treating black people as though they're, like, different, okay? Like, you don't have to be the type of person who, like, is riddled with white guilt. And you don't have to be the type of white person that says that, like, none of that exists anymore. So shut the fuck up. Just be normal, okay? That's my take on this. Just be fucking normal. And don't get me wrong, sometimes people will yell at you. I think I'm normal. I treat everybody equally, and sometimes I criticize black people, and black people get mad at me and say that I'm being racist or whatever, but, you know. I acknowledge my privilege, and I'm not going to fucking dial it back when it's a black person that's, like, engaging in this horrifying behavior just because they're black.
Their lives on the line to protect their children from danger. Nobody want to get to the heart of the matter, get to the meat of the matter, get to the moral of the story. When it all comes down to it, the person that's going to be suffering from this, the one's going to be hurt from this, is the kids. 10 years from now, if this stuff goes on, whose fault is it going to be? Whose fault is it going to be? Who we going
Yeah, dude. We're really doing an injustice, dude, by teaching white and black kids about the history of slavery and systemic racism. 10 years from now, man, black people are going to have it real hard, dude. You know, guys, like, obviously, obviously, like, the reason why slavery happened was because they were teaching critical race theory in the South. Like, the reason why segregation happened, literally critical race theory. Many people don't know this, but it was because everybody was learning about the racist institutions in American society, and that's why it happened. And the quicker we move away from critical race theory, the quicker we defeat racism.
We're going to look back on the blame for this because this is stuff we're talking about right now. This stuff is going on right now. I do this stuff on a daily basis.
You gonna keep spamming that, dude? The let's test if you read everything in chat, because I'm just refusing to read it.
In the hood. I'm in the communities. I'm out there with folks in their face. I've been doing this stuff since I was 18 years old, talking to black folks. And you know what? None of them are buying this nonsense. None of them are. But if you want to implement this into the school system, I guarantee you to the day that I die, I'm going to be the very person right there debunking stuff, tearing stuff down, letting them know they can do exactly what I did and get exactly where I am by putting themselves to work and getting there. And ain't not one white person ever gonna keep any of them from getting there. So the CRT stuff, BS.
Actually, when banks refuses to give loans to black people, okay, when banks refuse to give loans to black people, or when black people are pushed into other neighborhoods like ghettos specifically, and away from, like, you know, the good white suburbs, like, that was because all of the loan officers were reading critical race theory. Like, when in Chicago, we underfund the Chicago public school system, that's because all of the people that are, well, actually, that does make sense. Like, all the liberals in Chicago probably do love critical race theory, but they're fucking annoying libs. Hey, thank you, Queen Luigi, for the 9 gifted subs. That's all critical race theory, dude. That's how this works. Zizek had one of the rare base takes on this from the left. He really illustrates the whole issue within white performative self-shaming.
The first one is that classical one, you know, on Sabbath, on Saturday, Jewish believers meet in a synagogue and each of them says something.
I don't know, man. Zizek in, like, Zizek in black issues seems dangerous territory, okay? Okay, wait, hold on. Let's look at Ted Cruz first. Trigger warning, Ted Cruz. Zizek is a gamer, so I don't know what he's going to say.
Now, what is critical race theory? You know, I had just this week on Cap.
Tell us, Theodore Jebediah Edward Raphael Cruz, what is critical race theory?
Capitol Hill, I had a reporter run up to me. He thought he had a gotcha. He said, "Hey, what's critical race theory?" Apparently, he thought I would turn to him and say, "Gosh, I have no idea. I think it's really bad, but I just don't know what it is." You know, because, you know, conservatives are morons and we don't know what we're talking about.
True, but go on.
Like, he really did think this was such a, boy, he really got you there. And I explained to him, I said, well, it's a theory that derives from Marxism. Karl Marx viewed the entire world as a conflict between classes, between the...
Wait, critical race theory is a theory that derives from Marxism? Wait, what? What the fuck, dude? I'm...
Owners of capital and the working man and women, the proletariat, a fundamental battle in society. Critical race theory takes that same Marxist concept, except it replaces class with race. And it says all of it.
Oh. Okay, that's actually not a bad example. But, I mean, it's more so dialectics, right? Not necessarily... That's not really Marxist. It's just... It's dialectical in the sense that there is ongoing conflict, but that's just saying, like, all manner of dialectics is actually instead of being Hegelian, it's actually fucking Marxist in nature. And I think he's just saying Marxist because it's it's something that you know, triggers Americans. You know what I mean? They're like, Karl Marx, he was bad. You know what I mean? So he's not completely wrong. Okay, let's.
All of America and all of the world is a battle between the races. Critical race theory says every white person is a racist. Critical race theory says America is fundamentally racist and irredeemably racist. Critical race theory seeks to turn us against each other, and if someone has a different color skin, seeks to make us hate that person. And let me tell you right now, critical race theory is...
Wait, okay. So I lost the plot here. Wait, what? Critical race theory
seeks to turn us against each other, and if someone has a different color skin, seeks to make us hate that person. And let me tell you right now, critical race theory is bigoted, it is a lie, and it is every bit as racist as the Klansmen in white sheets.
P.O. Box. Of course. Thank you, sir. Imagine thinking about critical race theory so uncritically. I mean, that's kind of the shtick. Okay, listen. Any room that fucking get together and like celebrate Ted Cruz and like clap for Ted Cruz, jail. Okay? I'm sorry. Like, it doesn't mean you're racist. It kind of does, but like, you know, it just means that you like Ted Cruz, in which case that's like a massive fucking vibe check failure, okay? There is a cataclysmic amount of fucked vibes in a room when that room gets up and applauds Ted fucking Cruz. Like, imagine cheering on Ted Cruz. Like, we all are in agreement that politicians, no matter what fucking background that they're from, are dog shit, right? Like, everybody hates politicians. Everybody hates the government. When you cheer for Ted Cruz, you're in a worse position than the Senate. Because even the fucking Senate doesn't cheer for Ted Cruz. Like, that's so bad, dude. That's so bad. You are worse than the geriatric vampires in the Senate who absolutely fucking hate Ted Cruz.
As a Christian and as an American, I love my brothers and sisters, whatever skin color you are, whatever ethnicity you are, whatever faith you are, whatever creed you are. We are commanded to love, period, the end. And those who would divide us, those who would spread lies, it is evil.
Yeet, brother. Not a lot of applause for that one. Yeah. Hey, you lost me on that. I love my brother no matter what the skin thing, you know. Some people I don't like. This was a really good take from the intellectual giant Ben Shapiro. Everyone was asked, what would you ban? Wiley said sugary drinks. Donovan said food deserts, neighborhoods with no parks. Morales said ban bodegas without fresh fruits. Yang said ATVs. What? Adam said schools not having farms, gardens on rooftops. Garcia said corn syrup. Stringer said school lunch junk food. McGuire said healthcare deserts. And Ben said, notably, nobody said crime. Hypothetically, if you don't want to make crime illegal, how will we know? So great. Are there more Juneteenth takes out there? Because I want to watch more Juneteenth takes. I want to see these motherfuckers lose their shit over Juneteenth. What is this? Yikes. Ilhan Omar should be deported, not supported. Oh, wow. Censored by Twitter and Facebook. Fighting to protect the Judeo-Christian bedrock of America. Ugh. A good one, dude. Hey, I love when conservatives who are like, I love freedom of speech, have been losing their fucking minds over, what is this? An Illinois parent? Yes. Real Candace Owens, my sister. I'm a crazy big brother. Thanks inviting your brother, little sis. I don't believe this. I think that's a grift too. GOP Representative Ralph Norman explains the Juneteenth no vote on Fox Radio. How many holidays do we want? What's the magic number? This would put it to 11. Do we want 20? Are we going to do one for Native American Indians? I mean, where does this stop? This was such an easy no vote.
That they would try to make, there's one.
Dude, I love when people say, dude, why are you doing that racist accent? And then we find out that's exactly what he sounds like, by the way.
4th of July. Mm-hmm. There's one birthday, Independence Day is 4th of July. And, and I had a lot of negativity on it, but this was an easy no vote. Mm-hmm. Because, the fact that they would try to make race a part of it hadn't got anything to do with race. How many holidays do we want? What's the magic number? This would put it to 11. Do we want 20? Are we going to do one for the Native American Indians? I mean, where does it stop? And this was such an easy no vote. There's one 4th of July.
Mm-hmm. That's great, dude. That's actually fucking great. Where does it stop? Okay, let's listen to Zizek talking about white guilt.
So first, a big rabbi said, oh my God, I am nobody. I am not worthy of your attention, God. Then a rich Jewish merchant comes and says, oh my God, I'm also nobody. Don't even consider me. I'm not worthy of your attention. Then, I hope you know the joke, a poor Jew stands up and says, God, I'm also a nobody. And then the rich merchant kicks the rabbi and said, who is this guy that he thinks he can also say that he is a nobody? There is deep truth in this. Whenever somebody apparently humiliates himself and so on, adopts this attitude of, I despise my nation, my identity, blah, blah, be very careful for looking for secret privilege, what as a Lacanian I would have called surplus enjoyment. I will give you an example which may be even provocative to some of you. I've written about it extensively. In the United States, in these politically correct times, there is one basic rule, very simple. Further that you are from white, male, Protestant, whatever elite, more you are allowed to assert your particular ethnic, religious identity. Like Native Americans, so-called, they hate this term. Indians, I prefer to call them. Do you know my joke, which really happened in Missoula, Montana? One Indian referred to it to himself as Indian, and immediately a white, well-meaning liberal interrupted him. No, you're Native American. Don't you know that you are humiliating yourself? And the Indian gave a perfect answer. He says, no, sorry. Native American is for me much more racist. It means I am Native American, part of nature, and what are you, cultural American or what? He said, I prefer to be called Indian. In this way, at least my name is a sign of white man's stupidity. You know, they thought they are in India. He got it correctly. No, sorry, let's go on seriously.
White man's stupidity.
So, Native Americans, okay. Blacks, okay. Then Chinese suspicion begins. Italians, maybe Germans, Scandinavians, but if white WASP, Anglo-Saxon or whatever, if you just say, I also want to assert my identity, you are a fascist. You are decried as a fascist and so on. Now, I know...
He's not a stand-up comedian for the person who asked. No, this is Slavoj Zizek. He is a Lacanian philosopher, very prolific, wrote many books, most famously made documentaries about ideology. He is a dumpster diving raccoon that he's a dumpster diving raccoon that double fists hot dogs, and fucking he's a leftist philosopher who took a fat doo-doo on Jordan Peterson's face one time when they debated.
Well-founded reasoning behind this, because this is effectively the hegemonic position. It's not the same for you or for a poor Native American to say, I want to assert my identity. But I noticed something else, how beneath, I'm now talking about these typical multiculturalist leftist liberals, beneath this self-humiliating gesture, oh, we are guilty for everything, imperialist colonizers, we don't have the right, renouncing all your particular features always comes with, in a discreet way, asserting your position of universality. All this apparently modest.
That is a very good take.
Self-denigrating white people, at the same time, I noticed, have no problems behaving in a very patronizing way towards others, correcting them, telling them when they are making a mistake or whatever. So clearly, the secret profit is this moral authority given to you in this way. I think there is something of the same with how in Europe, and I have all sympathy for them, but nonetheless, how in Europe leftists, left liberals, behave towards immigrants. Of course, we should be, my God, my position is,
my God,
do not be afraid, very leftist here. I just noticed how.
The reason why people are understandably afraid of what he's about to say is because, you know, Zizek is has interesting opinions on cultural synthesis.
In their very understanding of immigrants, how they always...
He's saying that white people from like a dominant class, whenever they like talk about or try to talk about like racism or anything like that it's overcorrective white people behaving in a way where they want to dictate dominant attitudes, but that still comes from a point of like recognizing, acknowledging, or even somewhat like asserting your dominant point of view. Like your position of prominence in society and how normal your existence is. Latinx would be a decent POV on like a way to immediately understand it. It's like white saviorism still comes from a dominant POV that white people have.
Already patronize them. Like if immigrants do, and like all people, they are a mixed crowd. There are criminals among them and so on. If they do something horrible, rape and so on, white liberals are always looking for an excuse. Oh, this is just general human nature. We are all like that. Or they were so victimized by us, we should understand this and so on and so on. And one of my immigrant friends exploded and told me that It's a beautiful paradox, philosophical. He told me, my God, my basic human right is at least to be recognized as a
white guy just got banned on NoPixel for calling Buddha racist for playing an Asian character. Oh, that's funny.
Adult, responsible person, which practically means to be able to do something horrible. Are they aware that by treating me almost like a child in this way, they are humiliating me and so on and so on? So I think that, again, okay, I will not go into political consequences here. Just beware how, also with political correctness, often the position of a victim can be used as a nice instrument to justify your exerting of, in academia, American, it's typical. In outside, victims are really victims. But in academia, playing with victimhood, if you're a privileged victim, gives you an incredible power, de facto.
Okay, we looked at that. We looked at that. We looked at Joe Biden's anti-terrorism initiative. I'm not gonna lie, YouTube connoisseur, your playlist doesn't have a lot of up-to-date hog shit in it. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I'm gonna keep it $150. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Also, Elon Musk looks like shit, dude. I don't know what the fuck's going on. And I don't want Minecraft Twitter to come up my ass and be like, I can't believe you're like making fun, you're body shaming a neurodivergent person. Because sometimes you just gotta fucking say it, okay? He looks like shit. What the fuck? He looks like he has a Vegas residency, but not on the strip. You know what I mean? Like his career in whatever industry he was in is over. So now he's just like fulfilling his obligations at the Vegas residency. Actually, now fuck that. At the Reno residency. All right, let's hear what Krystal Ball had to say about the left's self-defeating Joe Rogan take.
Well, I really, truly had a great time heading down to Austin with Sagar and also with Kyle this week to talk to Joe Rogan for his podcast and also to get to interview him for this show. Love getting to talk about you guys and breaking points, UBI, drugs, all kinds of things. But something really struck me while I was there that I think says something bigger about the left beyond just the movement's feelings about Joe Rogan. So while I was down in Texas, the right-wing outlet The Blaze celebrated Rogan's recent comments on defund the police. Apparently, in an interview with another comedian, Rogan complained about crime and homelessness in LA. When defund came up, he said that the defunding of the police in Austin has been a disaster too, and New York's been a disaster. It's terrible everywhere. It's a terrible idea. Now, do I agree with Rogan on his rather simplistic comments about defund? No, I do not. Crime is up in virtually every city, whether or not they've touched police budgets. So everyone reaching for a...
And also police budgets are up in every city. So it literally does not make sense from like an empirical point of view. Like if you were to look at it, like what city had like their fucking police budget reduced?
Simplistic narrative on crime, they're just not dealing accurately with the situation. But what I found really interesting was the response by ideological media. While The Blaze pulled out the comments to applaud...
Boston cut by $130 million? Okay, here's the problem. When you say that, you make it seem as though like they got cut, their budget got cut, when in fact, the projected budgets that they were going to get have gotten like a little piece of it shaved off. Okay? So they're still getting a fuckload of money. And they're still getting significantly more money than anything else. And they're still, in most instances, getting more money than they were supposed to the previous year. They're just not getting as much more money as they were supposed to get from the previous year. That's the difference. Okay? So, like, when people say, oh, they're cutting the budgets, it's not true. It's like they were gonna get even more money than they were the previous year, but now they're getting more money, but not as much more money. Do you understand? And even if their budgets were slated to be cut, they haven't gotten budget cuts. So the only thing that you're cutting is from the raise that they were slated to get. Do you understand that? Do you get why it's actually fucked up? Do you get why this notion that, like, police were getting budget cuts is really fucking stupid? Because, like, they're literally just complaining about the fact that they aren't getting as big as a budget increase as they were slated to get, which is not the same as cutting someone's budget. Do you understand? They were supposed to get, like, let's say $100 million, and now they're getting $99 million. But the previous year, they got $75 million. And the people are crying about the $1 million.
Rogan and effectively claim him as their own. Progressive outlets, they did the exact opposite. They covered the comments to try to tar Rogan as a right-winger. In fact, overall, left-leaning media outlets have covered Joe's right-wing comments almost exclusively, whether it's his comments on vaccines or apologizing for spreading a false story about Antifa starting a wildfire. Just to be clear again, this isn't about siding with Joe on defund or vaccines or Antifa. It's about an editorial decision that was made by many outlets and commentators on the left to only focus on right-wing comments, in effect, pushing away the #1 podcaster on the planet. In fact, this dynamic has been playing out repeatedly ever since.
Yeah, we need to suck up to Joe Rogan when he has, like, idiotic takes because they're just too powerful. Okay? Sorry, he just has...
Rogan said he supported Bernie Sanders. Now, you remember what happened there. Rogan very...
Are left-wing outlets supposed to be like, oh my God, Joe Rogan said a correct thing this time? I did run an ad, yes.
Casually said that he would probably vote for Bernie in the Democratic primary. Those comments were smartly seized on by the Bernie campaign as an endorsement after...
You wish you had Rogan's influence and popularity? Lol. Yeah, no shit. That's incredibly stupid. Why do you think that's a gotcha? He is remarkably influential. What? Wait, that's so stupid. Like, that's like me saying to you, like, you wish you were in my shoes. And a Twitch streamer. Like, I don't... Yeah, I am an influencer. I am a political commentator. Why wouldn't I want to get to that level of prominence and influence? Like, that's what I actively work towards. That's kind of weird. It's like saying, dude, you wish you were more successful in your own career.
After all, who wouldn't want even an offhanded and casual endorsement from one of the most influential people in the country? But bad faith actors in the Democratic Party, in an attempt to undercut this win for Bernie, they decided to grab a bunch of Joe's jokes out of context and make it out like he was some evil bigot that no one should have anything to do with. Ever since then, every right-wing comment made by Rogan has been endlessly amplified, both by right-wing voices who want to claim him and by left liberal voices who want to trash him. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't criticize the guy. No one's above reproach. He gets things wrong, and he does have a really powerful platform. But the net effect of all of this has been to wildly misrepresent where he actually is on the political spectrum, and in a way that is only good for the right. What do I mean? Well, over the course of this week, between our...
Okay, this video is not great. It's kind of terrible, actually. Especially because, like, it doesn't even address anything new. It's just, like, literally rehashing, like... What this video is doing is basically rehashing an argument from the past that is actually a way stronger argument to make from a leftist position, which was, like, people yelling at Joe Rogan over his support for Bernie Sanders. And that was really dumb for people to be like, I can't believe Joe Rogan is, like, fucking... you know, supporting Bernie Sanders. Like, denounce him right now, Bernie. Like, I think that's dumb. That's dumb as fuck. But, I don't know what the purpose of this video is.
Our Time on Joe's podcast, our interview with him, chit chat before and after the episode, and sitting in on Kyle's episode with him as well. I probably heard well over 8 hours of Joe Rogan discourse on politics. And of all of those hours, maybe 20 minutes could be classified as centrist or right-wing, and that's being pretty generous. In our episode with Joe, we talked about Amazon's outrageous treatment of workers, the way billionaires have rigged the system to pay next to nothing in taxes, how Bill Gates is shilling for pharma to block global vaccine distribution, and how corrosive it is to a society to center absolutely everything around money and profit maximization. So think about that. We were able to go on the largest podcast platform in...
I mean, that's entirely dependent on who Joe's guests are. If it's Krystal Ball, then yes, he does speak out on that. If it's like Ben Shabibo, he very briefly will push back on like extreme edge cases, but otherwise take all of the fucking reactionary takes that his guest is feeding him hook, line, and sinker and just basically repeat it. The expectation that Joe Rogan is going to be anything but a chameleon who adopts to whatever the last person he talked to's political positions are is a silly one. How does Krystal get on, but you haven't been invited? I will never be invited because I criticize Joe Rogan all the fucking time. Why the fuck would Joe Rogan offer me his massive platform? Why would he do that? I totally get it. From his point of view, I am also a relatively large content creator that is like routinely dunking on him. A much larger content creator, it would simply be giving me a fucking platform. Have you even reached to be on it? No, I don't know how to even reach him. But I also don't think that like I don't think that like Kyle would be able to get me on his show, or David Pakman would be able to get me on his show. It's not that easy to get on the Joe Rogan show, boys. Like, he needs to personally like your content. The reason why he probably doesn't know who you are, Victim Andy. I mean, let's be real. I think that Joe Rogan has probably had some interactions with my content. It's not that crazy to expect that or assume that. It's just that he himself needs to... No shot he didn't see 821. Yeah, exactly. Like, you fucking crazy? And I don't even fault him for it. Like, I don't fault him for it. If one of my fucking much smaller haters wanted to come on my show, then I probably wouldn't offer them a platform either. Why the fuck would I? He probably doesn't know that much about Twitch or anyone on the platform. That doesn't matter because that doesn't matter because people that know me, like people like Joe Rogan that might have seen my videos, will not know me from Twitch. They'll know me from YouTube. You're not a hater? I mean, dude, Jamie streams on Twitch. He knows you 100%. Yeah. The thing is, like, the thing is, I used to be a bigger Joe Rogan fan than all of you. Like, back when you guys were soiling your diapers, I was a fucking Joe Rogan fan. I even got to hang out with him before, like, the big Sam Harris jank debate on, like, Islam and Islamophobia. Like, I got to, I used to listen to his podcast all the time. And I even got to, back, there was a time and place where, like, every time I did a Joe Rogan react, I would literally pull up the photo of me and him side by side. Back when he was doing Fear Factor? No, when his podcast first started. He's been around for a very long time. And it was awesome. We watched him, like, he was a fan of Anna, and he was a fan of the Young Turks back then. And he invited, like, he invited Anna to come watch him do a set at, I think the Comedy Store. No, at the Improv. And we listened to it, and then we hung out with him for, like, hours afterwards. Jamie, pull that pic up. Yeah, pull it up, Jamie. There it is, dude. At the Hollywood Improv. All the way back in July 3rd, 2014. Dude, I was a baby, dude. That's 2014, boys. That's a long-ass time ago, dude. That's 7 years ago. Half of you guys were literally not even in high school yet. The real question is, would you go on Joe Rogan? Is a dumb question. Of course I would. That's a dumb question. Of course I would. I would love to go on a show. Why wouldn't I? Joe Rogan knows you from Facebook. He brought you up about cancel culture. Remember, we all flipped out? Wait, what? Really? This is 2014, guys. 2014, okay? 2014, boys. 7 years ago, dude. I'm fucking 22 here. Or 23. Or wait, am I 22? I don't know. Fuck math. You wouldn't go on Joe Rogan because he's a fucking transphobe, LMAO? Dude, you're crazy if you think that, like, a platform of that size, I would refuse to go on because they're transphobic. That's an insane take. If anything, I would literally use this as an opportunity to, like, speak to a massive fucking platform about such issues in a way that is, like, in a way that is digestible for them. That's crazy.